Hello, very good morning to everyone. Welcome back to our Spring Boot tutorials. Today we are going to learn about Spring Data. What is Spring Data? Its mission is to provide a familiar for and consistent Spring based programming model for data access. What do you mean by data access? If you want to connect to database and get the data from the database system, we can use Spring Data. So in Spring Data, there are different modules are there. Again, it makes Spring Data makes easy to access technologies, either relational or non-relational databases, map-reduce frameworks, and cloud-based data services. Spring Data has many sub-projects and features are its powerful repository and custom object mapping abstractions. So object mapping is nothing but whatever the entity classes are there from the database tables, it will map that. So that is called object mapping. Dynamic query derivation from repository method names like find by name. You can understand going forward. Save directly, you can mention the repository entity name. Based on that, it will be saved. So implementation domain based classes providing basic properties. Auditing like created by, updated by, created time, updated time. So these are the auditing columns. Easy Spring integration via Java config and custom XML namespaces. Then main modules in this Spring Data Commons, Spring Data JDBC, Spring Data R2DBC, Spring JPA, this key value, LDAP, MongoDB, Redis, REST, Apache Cassandra, data Apache Geode. So we can understand these different modules, how it will work, so what is the purpose of each module. So all the modules at the end of the day will work for the same, but based on the requirement and fast and reliability, those things, each organization or each project will make use of different modules. Okay. Below are the some of the community modules like Aerospike, um, ArgoDB, CouchDB, Cosmos DB, Data Store, Cloud Spanner, DynamoDB, Elasticsearch, Hazelcast, Jest, Neo4j, Spring Data, Reindexer, Data Vault, Ubiquiter. So there are different communities where they can integrate their module with the Spring Data. So that's why these uh, modules has been mentioned here. Now coming to our basic how Spring Data JDBC first submod. What is Spring Data JDBC? Spring Data JDBC is a part of large Spring Data family. Make it easy to implement JDBC based Java database connectivity based repositories. This module deals with enhanced support for JDBC based data access layers. What are the features? Based on the aggregate abstraction, entity mapping, immutable entities, query derivation, which we already mentioned, main purpose of Spring Data. So how we will connect to MyBatis integration, lifecycle callbacks, auditing, customs query via @query annotations, right? So if you see here, these are the reference documents where we'll have it, and samples. If you see the Springboard JDBC samples, we have so many samples are there. You can go and we can verify here Spring how we will connect usually. What are the different databases we can connect? Sub MyVatis, immutables. These are things. Then Coming to Spring Data JPA. JPA is nothing but Java Persistence API. It's what it will do is, it is also part of the Spring Data family, makes it easy to implement JPA based repositories. It makes it easier to build Spring powered applications that use data access technologies. Implementing data access layer for application can be quite cumbersome. Too much bipolar, right? Code has to be written to execute the simplest queries, and things like pagination, editing, and other, and you end up lost. Spring Data JPA aims to significantly improve the implementation of data access layers by reducing the effort to amount that actually needed. Actually, in JDBC, we need to write completely manually, right? Queries and all. Um, but in JPA, there are already annotations are there. We can make use of those annotations and we can implement that. What features? Sophisticated support to build repositories based on Spring and JPA. Pagination support, dynamic query execution, ability to integrate custom data access code, validation query annotation, support for query DSL, predicates and type-safe JPA queries, auditing, transparent auditing domain classes, configuration, motor configuration using annotation as well. So these are the Spring Data JPA. So coming to Spring Data LDAP. So again, how Spring Data LDAP will work. Spring Data for Spring LDAP is part of the umbrella of Spring Data project, right? Which aims to provide a familiar and consistent repository abstractions for new Spring LDAP. So the Spring Data LDAP project provides repository abstractions for Spring LDAP on top of Spring LDAP's template and object-oriented directory mapping. Configurations. Spring configuration support using Java-based configuration classes and XML namespace. Rich object mapping, repositories, query DSL. So, as I mentioned earlier, every Spring Data module will work almost same, but the different is based on the requirement user get make use of these different modules. So, Spring Data MongoDB. So MongoDB is a part of the, again it's a Spring Data. It's a documented database with a wide range of server and driver versions, offering this familiar and consistent Spring-based programming model and retaining store-specific features and capabilities. What are the features? Mongo template is there, and object mapping is there, lifecycle events, data repositories. Like what are the lifecycle events? Before and after save, update, delete, hooks and events. What you need to do after doing some event. So data repositories, multi-document transactions, encryption, GridFS, Query DSL, Kotlin language, right? So these are the different features for Spring Data MongoDB, which is a documented database. So Spring Data Redis, again it is also part of the data family, and it is easy to configuration and access to Redis from Spring application. It offers both low level and high level abstractions for interacting with the store, freeing users from infrastructural concerns. It main features are, it's a connect package, a low level abstraction across multiple Redis drivers, exception and Redis template, publish subscribe support such as message listener container for messaging driven POJOs, Redis Essential, Redis cluster, reactive API using the driver, JDK string, atomic counter. So these are the different features are there. So as I mentioned earlier, so these are the 5 modules for today. We'll learn at the high level. So in future classes, we'll take each module, each sub module, and we'll explain how it will work. So with example, then you can understand better way. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.